Impressions is proud to present IMDb's number 249, Akira.
Hello everybody, how you doing? It's me, Sandy, your YouTube movie buddy, and Akira. Akira is an amazing movie. So there's not very many bad things, but let me just tackle what bad things there are, and most of them are just my own opinion. This is a very graphic film. Also, the third act drags out a long time. It's a huge manga, between 5 or 6 volumes that it's trying to deal with, and so the plot speeds up so quickly in the third act. It goes to so many different places. It can kind of be very confusing, especially on the first watch. It's almost impossible to get everything on the first watch, and it does drag on for quite a long time. I'm not a huge anime fan. I've seen a couple anime, but it never really blew me away. But this was beyond. I love this movie. So let's get into the good things. From a technical aspect, the animation was astounding. The score was really good. It made you feel this grand epicness. I enjoyed the ambition of it. Got the atmosphere of Blade Runner, the action sequences of Matrix, the ambition of 2001. It's a truly timeless work. Didn't know if I'd really enjoy it at the beginning because it had such a different feel. I can start to see the impact that it had on other people. You can see the cyberpunk influences in it, like Blade Runner, and you can see how it might impact future things like the Matrix or Final Fantasy. So before we get into my first impressions, let's see what you guys have to say. And this is a new segment that I wanted to start up. And DH, The Uncivilized, he offered to do a collaboration on a couple of videos. So I kind of took that and said, you know what I mean, if we're trying to create a community here on YouTube, why not get other YouTubers who may know or be interested in some of these videos. So instead of my first impressions, like what you guys think. This episode is Matthew Aronhalt. This guy is really good, and he's very prolific. He's got a lot of stuff that he says, and it's really interesting to hear what he has to say. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hey everyone, Matthew here. Thank you very much to my first impressions for including me on this collaboration. Especially because I get to talk about Akira, one of my favorite movies of all time, animated or otherwise. And in terms of animated storytelling, this is definitely one of the boldest that has ever been made. It's so influential in terms of how animated storytelling can be done, and also just influential to pretty much every sci-fi movie. Every sci-fi movie has been inspired, or for lack of a better word, ripped off this movie in some way, shape, or form. And the sound in this movie is also incredible. Get this Blu-ray, and you will definitely, if you want to test your sound system, use it, because it is worth it. I love the hallucinogenic quality of so much of it, especially the teddy bear scene. I've just always loved just how weird and freaking bizarre that scene is, especially because there's also like Legos and stuff. Overall, this is an amazing movie. It deserves its spot on IMDb's top 250. I think it should be higher, actually. And it's a must on everyone's Blu-ray collection, and should be on everyone's top list, in my opinion.
Thanks so much, Matthew. Oh man, I really agree with a lot of what he said. Especially the hallucination, and it definitely has that kind of hallucinatory feel to it. So now for my first impressions. Today I kind of want to, what I want to focus on is the existential anxiety over nuclear destruction that happened around the 1980s. So that sounds like a lot to take on, but this movie really talks about atomic energy and around the atomic bomb, because Akira is basically an atomic bomb, a human as an atomic bomb. And you can see this, it's interesting that you see this from a Japanese perspective, because the Japanese are the only country that's had a nuclear bomb dropped on them. And so you can see their kind of fear contrasted to another animated series by Alan Moore, The Watchmen, where Dr. Manhattan is, and their fear of it. And you see very similar things happening at the same time. In The Watchmen, Rorschach talks about the destruction of the city and how denigrated and destroyed and rotten it is and filthy. There's a similar thing said in around minute 41 of Akira, where they're talking about the city being saturated and ripe, as like a ripe fruit ready for it to fall, and from that a new city will spring, and the threat of nuclear power and that possible extinction of nuclear power just permeates through both of them, and it is an interesting thing that at that point, that around the late 80s, or that would be something that was so on everyone's mind. I come from a place where they didn't have, we weren't part of the Cold War. I was born in '87, and so I grew up in the '90s when the Cold War was over. But you can see through many different iterations, looking just right now at The Watchmen and Akira, just how interesting it is that this societal fear would be played out in animation on the two different countries. Just is really interesting to me. So tell me about it. Did you think of any other parallels between Akira and Watchmen, or any other ones? And what do you think about the nuclear and atomic issues that are going on within this film? Honestly, guys, if you haven't seen this movie, you really should see it. It's an experience. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for Matthew for being my first guest on here. And if you enjoyed it, please give it a like and a share. I'll see you guys at 2:48, which is The Graduate.